85%. Can anyone guess the significance of this 85%? No? Okay. 85% is the unemployment rate in America for people with disabilities. That's over 9 times our national unemployment rate. And according to the National Bureau of Labor Statistics, for every 74,933 men ages 16 to 64 in the U.S. that are employed, there are only 2,671 men of the same age range but that have autism that are employed. Now, this is a staggering ratio, and quite frankly, it's unacceptable. Why is this happening? Well, a big culprit in this occurrence is a lack of understanding about people with autism, specifically Asperger's syndrome, and what they have to offer. This barrier blocks perfectly qualified people from obtaining employment. But fortunately, there's something that we can do. We are the future. In a few years, when all of you are owning and operating your own businesses, you can be the people that make a difference and say yes to those with Asperger's syndrome. Now, why would you want to hire someone with Asperger's syndrome? Don't they have trouble with communication? That's a very valid concern, considering that last time when I gave a presentation, I told you guys that people with Asperger's struggle with interpersonal relationships and social communication. Now, this may be true, but just because they have trouble with it doesn't mean it's something they can't overcome. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates' net worth is $56 billion. And Bill Gates is rumored to have Asperger's syndrome. And this makes sense because one of the points with Asperger's syndrome is that they have a narrow focus in one interest and they're obsessed with it. Bill Gates' obsession is with computers and technology, and he's been able to channel that interest into something that's made him the $56 billion success that he is. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who has Asperger's syndrome is going to be this successful, but the thing is, not a lot of us in this room are going to be that successful. What I'm trying to show with this example is that people who are seen as different by society shouldn't be disregarded. Now we're going to focus on what people with Asperger's syndrome, the skills they have that give them a leg up in the competition in employment. First is their attention to detail. Now let's pretend that you're a CEO of a major corporation and you're going to hire an accountant. Are you going to want someone that's going to mess up the little details in your financial statement and just cause huge problems in your company because of that? No. Are you going to want someone that's going to miss the little details when they're auditing a report? Of course not. You're going to want someone that can remember and process the little details without being overwhelmed, which is something that people with Asperger's excel at, but something that a lot of other people may have trouble with. So this gives them an advantage to solving the complex problems thrown their way in the workforce. Next, according to the National Autistic Society, those with autism spectrum disorders, specifically Asperger's syndrome, have high levels of focus and concentration. Now again, let's go back to the CEO example. Are you going to want a worker who's going to sit at their desk and stare out the window all day or play Tetris on their computer? Of course not. You're going to want a worker that can work hard, that can do these tasks, and focus on them for a long period of time without becoming distracted, without losing steam, and without losing productivity. You want someone that's going to put in work and focus so that they can complete these projects and make your company better. And people with Asperger's syndrome can accomplish these demanding projects. Next, according to Judy Endow, who's an autism consultant who appeared in the Washington Post, a key to finding success for people with Asperger's syndrome is finding a career that's a good fit for them. And an example is a job that may minimize social interactions, but emphasize skills that are very structured, governed by rules, and fact-based. So people with Asperger's syndrome thrive in a structured environment, and they thrive doing independent work. And this may explain why there's a large number of people with Asperger's who are employed in jobs like computer programming, science, and math, because these fields of interest require less social interaction and communication, since they're mostly independent work and they're varied by the manual. And finally, if these reasons haven't convinced you, it looks good. Going back to the CEO thing, I mean, customers love companies that show that they're trying to make a difference. By hiring and employing someone with Asperger's syndrome, you would be showing that you care about the community and its people. Now let's take a look at Walmart. Recently, Walmart has been receiving a lot of bad press for the way that they treat their employees, specifically women. If you're a CEO, you don't want to do anything that's going to damage your company's reputation. You want to stay on the customer's good side and have a good image. No one wants a bad reputation. Hiring someone with Asperger's syndrome is going to enhance your reputation. So people with Asperger's syndrome have outstanding skills related to attention to detail, focus, thriving in a structured environment, and employing them looks good for the company. Now we know how valuable they can be to the workforce and to society as a whole. And we can make that 85% get smaller and smaller.